release of the Lion King remake this week, it's time to dive in and talk about and rank all 12 Disney live-action films from worst to best. Now, I'm not including these older Disney live-action remakes. I'm talking about the new ones, starting kind of with the Sorcerers Apprentice, Maleficent, and Alice in Wonderland, and kind of going further from there. I know that I'm going to be missing some, but of course, these are the ones that I'm going to be including on the list, and you'll be seeing them in the description down below. So guys, make sure to leave down your list as well in the comment section. But without further ado, let's start at my number 12. Of course, coming in at my number 12 is Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, this is just poorly a weak sequel to the original Alice in Wonderland, which I surprisingly actually enjoyed. The problem with Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass is it's just boring. The fun Tim Burton aspects that he had placed in that original Alice in Wonderland are sorely missing, and this kind of just feels like an afterthought when it comes to making this film. It's like, why was this even a thing? The story's not productively good, the characters are quite annoying, and in fact, this was a waste of time. And coming in at my number 11, though, is going to be Maleficent. Now, the only reason this one's not last place for me is personally just because of Angelina Jolie's performance as Maleficent. Maleficent is great. She's beautiful, and I think Angelina Jolie is excellent in the role. My issue with this is all the stuff that they changed from Sleeping Beauty. They try to make her be this anti-hero, and I'm not the biggest fan of that personally. They try to change the story up of Sleeping Beauty, and this just felt weak. And personally, maybe that's just because of my expectations. I know there are quite a few people who really enjoy this film. It means there's nothing really wrong with this movie when it comes down to the performance. It's just jogs down to the story that they decided to tell that I'm just not a big fan of. And coming in at my number 10, though, is sadly Dumbo. I was very disappointed in Dumbo when I went to go see it. The opening starting wasn't too bad, but as the film progressively went on, I just could not get on board with the movie. I'm a big fan of the original Dumbo, and just what they did with the character, how they made it kind of half the remake and then half a new one. And I know a lot of us complain that, like, oh, well, you just need to make it completely new, or you need to make it completely different. The thing about that, though, is if you try to go so different, it kind of backfires on you, and if you try to go so much the same, it also backfires on you. There's a nice niche and a nice thing that Disney needs to find, and Dumbo definitely wasn't there. Really, the biggest problem with this film is it just, like, you get Tim Burton to come in and direct this, and the only scene that I would say, that's a Tim Burton scene, is the pink elephant scene. Everything else in this, pretty weak. Danny Elfman's score, do not forget about that. That was actually a really good score. You know, my number 9, though, is sadly the new Lion King. The more I've thought about this film, the more I'm just kind of sour on it. I don't really care to ever watch it again. It's one of those movies that sadly sucks to say that, because I think the photorealism of the VFX that Jon Favreau and everyone that had created it is the best visual effects that you've ever seen in a film. It's almost like when Cinderella Life started, I sat there and I'm like, this is real, but it's fake. It's real, but it's fake. My eyes could not process how amazing that it had looked. My issue with Lion King, though, is it is directly a shot-for-shot remake. The difference is the only improvement they did on the original was giving Nala a little bit more to do, because you got Beyonce. When you get Beyonce as Nala, you got to do something else with the character, right? Overall, just lacked the personality, colorful animation from the original Lion King. And the thing is that the original Lion King is like top 3, if not the best Disney animated film of all time. And when you try to remake that, it's definitely going to be a hard choice. And I went in expecting good, but I came out getting meh and fine. Again, on a technical level, this is a gorgeous film. But when you kind of try to compare it, and when you even not comparing it, it just lacks its soul and personality that the original has so much. And you truly can't get an emotion off in a lion's face. And really, Timon and Pumbaa are the only really big characters in this film with a lot of personality. Billy Eisner and Seth Rogen definitely can't save the whole movie themselves. Coming in at my number 8 is going to be Christopher Robin. Now, this would probably be a bit higher if they would have just gone a little bit darker. Now, it's a fun movie. That's for sure. Seeing Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, and all of them walk around is a cute little joy thing. Ian McGregor is always great. Seeing him portray an older Christopher Robin was a nice touch on it as well. Just dives down to Christopher Robin kind of not going further into that dynamic that the trailer went and gave it on, and it just turns out to be just, a fun little Winnie the Pooh adventure. And coming in at my number 7 is going to be Beauty and the Beast. Now, this film has kind of fallen down more on my part, with really, again, just lacks the personality of the original animated film. There are certainly good aspects to it. Emma Watson's fine, whatever, but I think truly the best things about this film is Dan Stevens as the Beast, and of course, Luke Evans as Gaston. Gaston is simply, easily the best part about this whole entire film. The visual effects are cool in here, but again, the thing about this is, even though it does have a little bit more personality than The Lion King, because at least most of these things, and it has human characters, can at least emote personality, and the music is, of course, good. The set pieces are good. It's just not a movie that I really ever care to go back and rewatch, besides scenes of Luke Evans as Gaston, because that was the perfect casting that you could have ever done. Before we get any further into this ranking, guys, make sure to comment down below and let me know what your guys' ranking would be. Hit that like and subscribe, and if you guys are enjoying this, because I do tons of early geeky content like this, and even early movie reviews like for The Lion King. And of course, if you guys are new here, go over to Sandwich on Films, check them out, because you guys can win advanced movie screen tickets over there. Coming in at my number 6 is going to be The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Now, for me, I really like this movie. I don't know why. I just really enjoy it. I think it's a joyous, fun time. Jay Baruchel, I kind of have a little sweet spot for him when he's appearing in roles. Nicolas Cage as this sorcerer is great, and there's a lot of fun within this. While it's wildly different than the original Disney animated film that this is based off of, it's certainly a fun time, and I enjoy it for what it is. I think I'm very much in the minority on that, but that's my choice. I mean, at my number 5 is Pete's Dragon. Now, this film, directed by David Lowery. Now, I think David Lowery is one of the best directors working today. After A Ghost Story kind of proved me right there. But Pete's Dragon is the most underrated Disney live-action remake. No one went and saw this, and this film was just beautiful. They told the story, the coming-of-age story that David Lowery decided to underlie throughout this movie, and in general, just a boy and his dragon type of tale is just superb. It is wildly different than the original Pete's Dragon, but I really appreciate that. And if you're gonna go wildly different, then tell your own story, tell it, but also retell certain aspects from it. And that's something about Pete's Dragon. It's so wildly different that I think Disney really didn't push this film hard enough. And I think if more people would have seen it, they would agree with me. Coming in at my number 4 is gonna be Alice in Wonderland. Now again, I'm really in the minority on this, but I like this movie. I always remember having fun memories of this, and I actually find myself revisiting it quite a few times over the last couple of years. Just a lot of it comes down to Tim Burton's magicalism and dark, cynical look on Alice in Wonderland. The visual effects that he put in here, the world that he built up. Now, it's not a perfect movie by any means, and really none of these Disney live-action remakes have been perfect to date, but there's something about Alice in Wonderland that just fits the personality that the cartoon had, but also made it different. It's different, but it's also new, and I kind of dug everything that they went about it. The performances are good. Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter was actually perfect casting for this film, and overall, I just think Alice in Wonderland is a fun movie. Coming into my number 3 is overall the best made Disney live action film, and that is the Cinderella reimagining. Oh my god, what is there to say about this? Great casting all the way around. You have Rob Stark in here, Richard Madden, you have Lily James portraying Cinderella, and probably easily the best portrayal of all these Disney live action films so far. She had the role nailed down, and that goes to me again. When you're looking at these live actions, you kind of have to get new or kind of unheard talent at the time. Lily James was a heard talent, but she wasn't to where she is now. And I think she embodied Cinderella so well because we didn't know her for any other iconic roles yet. When you get Emma Watson for Belle, there's kind of an issue of looking at that and it's like, oh, that's Emma Watson, not Belle. Even though I thought she did a decent job in there, I think you should have gone with more of an unknown. And that's kind of why I'm actually kind of excited for the new Little Mermaid, with going with an unknown that not everyone knows about. It helps them shape the character, and that's definitely what Lily James did within Cinderella. Really told this beautiful magical story, and actually in general I would actually revisit this more than the original cartoon. Coming in at my number 2 spot, I'm probably going to be the minority on this one too, but I really enjoyed Aladdin. In fact, I had so much fun with Aladdin. A lot of it goes down to Will Smith's genie. Now, while was the visual effects perfect? No. But I thought what he had brought to the character was wonderful. And the charisma and charm that Will Smith always oozes out of himself, he brought and kind of respected the genie role so well, because I was so hesitant because of Robin Williams. And Aladdin's like top 3 Disney animated films for me personally. And I went into this film so skeptical because of the trailers, because they were making it, and walked out having such a big smile on my face. Oh my god, I felt so much magic coming out of Aladdin. Whether it's again Will Smith's performance, or it's our Aladdin and Jasmine, who really, they both got to create the roles again, because again, they're unknowns for the most part. Even though we've seen them here and there in certain things, they really got to form these roles into their own. Each and every one of them truly had a very spectacle moment. And this film, if it wasn't for the performance of Jafar, because it wasn't the actor who did Jafar, it was just how they they wrote Jafar. I think Jafar should have been a very much older character. If it wasn't for that, and definitely that one snow sequence, I think this actually could possibly be my favorite Disney live action film. Of course, coming in at my number 1 is The Jungle Book. I think Jon Favreau did such a wonderful retelling of the story while also carrying such a great emphasis on these visual effects. And I think the reason that this film succeeds more than Lion King isn't because, again, the animals look so realistic in Jungle Book, and it's times 10 even more on Lion King, but it's because we're latched onto our human protagonists as Mowgli. And also The Jungle Book, the thing about that film is that it's not so wildly beloved. People definitely love it a lot, but when you go back to rewatch it, The Bare Necessities is truly the big song that everyone points out. Jungle Book kind of retold the story and while it didn't keep the music, it still kept it entwined in there to a certain way. And I just think Jon Favreau kept the personality of The Jungle Book while also elevating. This is the main film out of all these reimaginings that I think is actually truly better than the original. It's keeping that same personality while also keeping a new dynamic with it, and that's why The Jungle Book is at my number 1. Guys, that's my ranking of all Disney live action remakes. Make sure to comment down below and let me know what your ranking is. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts, and again, I know I'm missing some, so if you guys do want to add some other ones like the 101 Dalmatians and the other John Kipling Jungle Book remake, comment down below and let me know down below what that ranking would look like. Thank you guys again so much for watching this. Hit that like and subscribe button, check out Sam Sean Films, and I'll make sure to catch you guys soon. So, until next time, stay classy.